vintage decor trends for 2025 you'll want in every room. Florals, antiques, and retro charm. Vintage style is more than just a look. It's a feeling. In 2025, the trend is all about merging timeless pieces with a fresh, curated approach. Whether you're redesigning a whole room or just updating corners of your space, knowing how to use florals, antiques, and retro accents the right way will instantly elevate your home. Let's break it down trend by trend. Each room in your home offers a new opportunity to express character and nostalgia through vintage decor. With the right techniques, you can blend the old with the new seamlessly. From thrifted treasures to floral motifs and retro pops of charm, let's go step by step through 20 ways you can bring this trend into every room. Choose the right floral patterns for 2025. Start by selecting florals that feel refined and artistic. Look for patterns with soft, faded tones like dusty rose, sage green, or muted yellows. Avoid overly busy designs. Aim for elegance over excess. Apply them to textiles like curtains, throw pillows, or even a large wall canvas to introduce the trend without overwhelming the space. You can also combine small floral accents with clean lines for a modern balance. In bedrooms, go for floral duvet covers paired with neutral sheets. In living rooms, a vintage-style floral rug under a modern coffee table adds contrast. Stick to 2 or 3 floral elements per room to avoid clashing patterns. Pro tip: try layering florals with textured solids like linen or velvet to create depth and dimension. How to use peel and stick floral wallpaper like a pro. Begin by choosing one wall to act as a focal point. This could be behind a bed, a sofa, or even in a hallway. Clean the surface thoroughly and use a level to mark straight guidelines. Peel and stick wallpaper is forgiving, so take your time smoothing it down edge to edge. Use a flat edge tool to press out bubbles as you go. For best results, choose a design with a slight vintage fade or hand-drawn look. Don't cover every wall. Just one feature wall gives the effect without overpowering. If you're in a rental, this is a perfect reversible update. Match surrounding furniture in complementary tones like cream, gold, or sage. Pro tip: choose matte finish wallpaper to mimic the look of traditional paper for a more authentic vintage vibe. Vintage upholstery. Refresh old furniture with floral fabrics. Find a piece of vintage furniture with solid structure. A wooden armchair, footstool, or bench works well. Remove the old fabric and padding carefully, keeping the original shape in mind. Use floral fabric with a classic pattern, roses, vines, or wildflowers, and staple it tightly to the frame. Secure edges neatly underneath. You don't need to upholster the entire piece. Try replacing only the seat cushion or a panel on the backrest to preserve the vintage charm. Mix bold florals with neutral wood stains or distressed paint. For extra flair, add piping or tufted buttons to enhance the old-world detail. Pro tip: check thrift stores for frames and reuse quality foam inserts to save on material costs. Decorate with botanical prints in frames. Choose a series of vintage-style botanical prints. Florals, leaves, or herbs work well. You can find free printable versions online or scan pages from old books. Frame them in mismatched wooden or gold frames for an eclectic feel. Hang them in a grid, a line, or staggered layout based on your wall space. For a cohesive look, stick to one size of print but vary the frame styles slightly. Matte cream or parchment colored paper enhances the vintage tone. This works great above a bed, along stairwells, or in dining areas. Try grouping in 3s or 9s for visual balance. Pro tip: add a thin linen or off-white mat board inside each frame to elevate the botanical art. Where to find affordable antique pieces? Start with local thrift stores, flea markets, and estate sales. These places often hide unique finds. Don't overlook pieces that need a little love. Look for quality materials like solid wood, brass, and real glass. Always inspect drawers, joints, and legs for sturdiness before buying. Online platforms like Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, and Craigslist are treasure troves for budget vintage pieces. Set alerts with keywords like vintage, mid-century, or antique. Be ready to act quickly. Good finds go fast. A quick clean and polish can make a piece look brand new. Pro tip: bring a tape measure and fabric swatch with you while shopping to avoid size and style mismatches. Turn antique furniture into functional decor. Start by identifying antique pieces that have potential for everyday use: a sewing table, a vintage trunk, or an old dresser. Clean it thoroughly and sand down any rough edges. You can repurpose a trunk as a coffee table, or turn a vintage vanity into a hallway console. Function meets beauty when these items serve a purpose. Maintain the original character by preserving the finish or hardware where possible. Add glass tops or inserts if needed for easier daily use. A tall vintage dresser can be reworked into a chic bar station. The key is blending old charm with modern utility. Pro tip: use museum gel or adhesive pads to stabilize antique items you repurpose for everyday use. Upgrade your space with vintage brass hardware. Swap out modern knobs and handles with vintage-style brass alternatives to give your furniture an instant upgrade. Look for aged or patina finishes for a more authentic look. These work especially well on kitchen cabinets, nightstands, or bathroom vanities. It's a small change that makes a big visual impact. You can find affordable brass pieces online or salvage them from old furniture. Clean with lemon juice or vinegar to restore shine if needed. Mix and match styles for an eclectic touch, but keep finish types consistent across a room. Screws should match the tone for a polished look. Pro tip: install backplates behind knobs for an extra vintage detail and to cover previous drill holes. Create a gallery wall with antique mirrors. Collect antique mirrors in different shapes and sizes. Oval, rectangular, or ornate frames work best. Lay them out on the floor to plan your layout before hanging. Start with the largest piece in the center and build around it. Use a mix of metallic and distressed finishes for texture and shine. Hang the mirrors with strong anchors and vary their heights for a curated feel. These walls not only reflect light, but also make small rooms feel larger. Stick to a palette gold, bronze, or antique white for visual unity. Perfect for entryways, living rooms, or above fireplaces. Pro tip: add sconces or candles between the mirrors to enhance the light play and vintage aesthetic. Retro colors that are making a comeback. The big comeback colors of 2025 are warm and nostalgic. Think avocado green, burnt orange, ochre yellow, and dusty rose. Start with small accents like throw pillows or wall art. These shades work well with wood tones and brass finishes. Test paint swatches on your wall before committing. Use bold retro colors in moderation. Think accent chairs, painted trim, or kitchen backsplashes. Pair them with neutrals like cream, taupe, or charcoal for balance. Retro doesn't have to mean outdated. It's about playful confidence. Look for vintage enamelware or ceramics in these hues to tie it all together. Pro tip: use retro tones in matte or chalk finishes to give them a more vintage, lived-in look. Add rattan, lucite, and mod details. Bring in mod-inspired materials like rattan, lucite, and molded plastics for a throwback to mid-century vibes. A rattan side chair or lucite coffee table adds visual contrast to wood-heavy rooms. Use 1 or 2 bold pieces per room to highlight without overwhelming. Think sculptural and airy. Look for vintage-inspired reproductions if originals are out of budget. Lucite trays, bar carts, and acrylic bookshelves are great entry-level options. Combine these materials with soft textures like cotton, wool, or velvet to prevent a cold look. These pieces add retro charm while keeping the space light. Pro tip: rattan and lucite pair beautifully with plants. Use greenery to soften and blend them into your decor. Blend retro lighting fixtures for instant charm. Start by swapping standard light fixtures with retro-inspired options like globe pendants, cone sconces, or mid-century chandeliers. Choose warm metals like brass or copper for a true vintage look. Mix these pieces with Edison bulbs or soft white LED bulbs to complete the aesthetic. Keep cords and mounts clean and minimal. Retro lighting is more than just overhead pieces. Add vintage-style table lamps with curved bases or pleated shades. For dining areas, go bold with a Sputnik chandelier or colored glass pendant. Keep the balance by using only one statement fixture per space. Pro tip: use dimmer switches with retro fixtures to create warm, cozy lighting that mimics vintage ambience. Style a retro-inspired coffee table setup. Choose a coffee table with a low profile and curved edges. Wood or glass with metal legs are great options. Style it using vintage coasters, stacked old books, and a funky ceramic vase or ashtray. Keep things balanced. Use trays to organize and allow space for negative area. A few carefully chosen items are better than clutter. Textures like shag runners or crochet doilies for layering. Add a candle with a vintage scent, think patchouli or sandalwood. A pop of retro color like orange or teal adds contrast. Switch elements seasonally to keep the setup fresh and curated. Pro tip: use a record sleeve or retro magazine as a visual centerpiece. It adds personality and nostalgia instantly. Decorate with vintage clocks and radios. Look for classic wind-up clocks, flip clocks, or retro radios from the 1950s, 1970s era. These pieces work as both art and utility. Place one on a bookshelf, desk, or bedside table to anchor the space with charm. Be sure they're functional or restored to working condition. To create contrast, set vintage tech against modern surfaces like marble or high-gloss lacquer. You can group multiple items in a vignette: clock, books, small vase. Don't be afraid of patina, it adds to the character. Look online for rewiring tutorials if you're up for a DIY repair. Pro tip: stack your clock or radio on top of vintage books to add height and frame the piece visually. Mix patterns with confidence: florals, stripes, and plaids. Start by choosing a dominant pattern, like a floral curtain or bold plaid rug. Then introduce a secondary pattern, like striped throw pillows or gingham upholstery. Keep the color palette consistent, 3 or 4 shades maximum. Use solids to break up patterns for balance. Layer patterns by scale. Pair large florals with small checks or thin stripes. Mixing textures helps too. Velvet, cotton, and linen give patterns room to breathe. Apply this to bedding, living room seating, or even kitchen textiles. Don't be afraid to experiment, it's all about personality. Pro tip: start your pattern mix on a neutral base. White walls or wood flooring help anchor everything visually. Bring back the charm of vintage bar carts. Find a vintage or mid-century bar cart with brass, glass, or wood features. Clean it thoroughly and restore shine with polish or paint touch-ups. Stock it with glassware, decanters, and retro cocktail shakers. Add small decorative items like a vintage clock or framed recipe card. Display your bar cart as both functional and decorative. Add a plant or small lamp for height variation. Rotate bottles in decor by season, think summer spritzers or fall bourbon. Use a tray to contain items and keep things organized. Pro tip: keep a few vintage recipe books or cocktail guides on the bottom shelf for added charm and usability. Layer vintage rugs for a collected look. Start with a large neutral rug as your base, then layer smaller vintage rugs with distinct patterns and colors on top. Think Persian, Kilim, or faded tribal designs. Overlap them slightly at angles to avoid a rigid layout. This technique adds depth and lived-in charm instantly. Stick to a shared color story to keep it cohesive. Pull hues from pillows or wall art. Use rug pads underneath to avoid slipping. This works great in living rooms, bedrooms, or under dining tables. It's a simple way to make even modern spaces feel collected over time. Pro tip: use rugs with different textures like wool and flat weave to create contrast and interest. Display vintage books as design statements. Look for books with worn covers, embossed spines, or rich colors. Stack them horizontally on shelves or place them upright with retro bookends. You can also fan them out on coffee tables or entry consoles. Use odd numbers for natural styling. Group books by color or decade to make the display feel intentional. Mix in objects like magnifying glasses, candle holders, or photo frames. You can even tie stacks with twine for a rustic touch. These books double as decor and conversation starters. Pro tip: thrift stores and estate sales are treasure troves for finding beautiful old books at low cost. Add nostalgia with retro kitchen accessories. Classic accessories like enamelware, Pyrex bowls, and tin bread boxes. Display them on open shelving or your counter for that vintage diner feel. Soft pastel hues and cherry reds work perfectly here. Don't forget a wall clock or checkerboard rug to complete the vibe. Look for retro-inspired appliances in mint green or butter yellow. Even items like hand towels, soap dispensers, or salt and pepper shakers can add character. Keep it playful and functional. Nostalgia meets purpose. Rotate displays seasonally to refresh your kitchen feel. Pro tip: use magnetic retro kitchen timers or colorful measuring cups for a small, impactful pop of charm. Frame vintage fabrics or handkerchiefs as wall art. Find unique vintage fabrics, scarves, or embroidered handkerchiefs with nostalgic prints or patterns. Cut and press them to fit inside floating or shadow box frames. Arrange in a grid or gallery layout for maximum impact. Hang in bedrooms, hallways, or bathrooms for a soft touch of color. You can mix and match frame styles, gold, wood, or black, to reflect surrounding decor. Add handwritten labels to share the fabric story if you know it. This DIY wall art is budget-friendly and rich in personal charm. Bonus: it's totally customizable to your color palette. Pro tip: use archival quality backing and UV glass to preserve the fabric's color and condition over time. Use vintage trays to organize with style. Find trays in brass, wood, or mirrored glass from thrift stores or antique shops. Use them to organize bathroom essentials, coffee tables, or nightstands. Trays instantly elevate clutter into curated vignettes. Mix shapes: oval, square, or scalloped for visual interest. Pair trays with candle holders, mini vases, or perfume bottles for a soft glam effect. For kitchens, use them to hold spices or utensils with style. Layer a small doily or napkin for added texture. Versatile and vintage, a decor win. Pro tip: add felt pads underneath trays to prevent surface scratches and make repositioning easier.